You think you know drama? Wait until you hear about these NFL beefs. We're talking about on-field battles and intense social media trash talks. In this video, we'll take you deep into the heart of the most toxic player rivalries in NFL history. And trust me, number 3 will blow your mind. Number 10, Patrick Mahomes versus Max Crosby. Now let's begin with some current heat. Since 2019, these two have been going at it twice a year in the AFC West. Here's the thing about Crosby. This guy has made it his mission to destroy Mahomes. We're talking 6 sacks and 40 tackles against KC in just 12 games. That's not just good defense, that's a different level of hatred. But here's where it gets interesting. These guys actually respect each other. But their on-field conversations, Crosby himself said they're rated R. That's NFL code for we're saying things that would make you want to throw up.
So what's the relationship like with you and Patrick Mahomes?
It's great.
The best part, in 2024, there were trade rumors linked Crosby to the Chiefs. Can you imagine what the chaos would look like? But he re-signed with Vegas instead. I guess he just preferred terrorizing Mahomes twice a year from an opposing team. But what about when teammates turn on each other on social media? Number 9, Michael Thomas versus Derek Carr. When teammates pull their swords against each other, that's where careers go to die. This one exploded in November 2024 when Thomas absolutely ripped Derek Carr apart on social media. We're talking about a full Twitter war, calling out Carr's decision-making. After a high pass led to Chris Olave getting his head banged on the pitch, leaving him with a concussion. Now the thing here is, Thomas wasn't even on the team anymore when he started this beef. He was sitting at home, watching Saints games, and decided to air out all his grievances on Twitter like he was writing his diary. Carr tried to take the high road, saying he still had love for Mike, but you can tell he was hurt. Nothing stings worse than getting called out by your own guy on social media for the whole world to see. But wait until you hear how much rivalry a $600 fight caused for these next players. Number 8, Geno Smith versus Ik Enemkapali. This one's different because it happens in their own locker room. August 11, 2015 remains a date that changed 2 careers forever. Geno Smith was a starting quarterback of the New York Jets, while Ik Enemkapali was a special linebacker. Smith owed Enemkapali $600 for missing his football camp. That's it, $600. But when they started arguing about it, Smith got in Enemkapali's face and pointed fingers. Ik's response? He broke Smith's jaw. Not metaphorically, he literally broke his jaw in 2 places. Smith needed surgery and missed half the season. The Jets cut Ik immediately, but the damage was done. Smith never got his starting job back in New York, and his whole career trajectory got derailed over a $600 argument. But money disputes are nothing compared to family drama being dragged onto the field. Number 7, Jalen Ramsey versus Golden Tate. Shockingly, this beef isn't about football, it's about family. Ramsey of the Los Angeles Rams dated Golden Tate's sister, had 2 kids with her, then left while she was pregnant. Yeah, you can already see where this is heading. On October 4, 2020, in a match between the Rams and Giants, the tension was thick from the kickoff. During the game, Ramsey laid a hard hit on Tate that had extra effect.
You're just going to not only tackle, but you defeated the block of Dion Lewis. And then look at this. I mean, you want to talk about...
After the game, all hell broke loose at midfield. Both benches emptied, punches were thrown, and you could feel the personal hatred through your TV screen. This was no longer about a football game. Right there on the field, it was about a man was protecting his sister's honor. Ramsey later admitted the fight was inevitable, saying they were never on good terms. No kidding, Jalen. But family drama looks like child play compared to a player being tortured psychologically. Number 6, Richie Incognito versus Jonathan Martin. This one still makes people uncomfortable, and it should. On October 2012, Jonathan Martin just walked away from the Miami Dolphins. After some of the team left him at a restaurant with the unpaid bills, he didn't say goodbye, didn't clean out his locker, just left. Why? Because Richie Incognito and his crew had been making his life a living hell. We're talking bullying, racial comments, death threats, and psychological torture, disguised as locker room hazing. Even one of the team's coaches contributed to the humiliation. Martin checked himself into a hospital for mental health treatment and never played again. The NFL investigation was convincing. Incognito got suspended after his sick texts with Martin were revealed, and the whole league had to look in the mirror and ask some tough questions about what they were allowing to happen. This wasn't just rivalry, this was traumatic bullying that nearly destroyed a man's life. Number 5, Peyton Manning versus Mike Vanderjagt. Peyton is regarded as one of the GOATs of the game, but in 2002, the Colts got demolished in a 41-0 defeat by the Jets in the playoffs. Instead of staying quiet, the kicker, Mike Vanderjagt, went on Canadian television and threw Manning under the bus, saying Peyton lacked enthusiasm and urgency, and basically called him a choker. But that didn't turn out so well. At the Pro Bowl in 2003, Manning was asked about those comments and tore Vanderjagt to shreds, saying, "Our idiot kicker who got liquored up and ran his mouth." He publicly humiliated him in front of the entire world. Vanderjagt made All-Pro that year, but Manning's words haunted him for life. When Vanderjagt missed a crucial field goal against Pittsburgh in 2005, Manning probably smiled knowing his replacement would be Adam Vinatieri. Well, that wasn't such a happy ending. Number 4, Richard Sherman versus Russell Wilson.
You need 1 yard. Run the ball. Run the ball. CT.
He's triggered.
All he has to do is run the football. Like, necessary criticism. I'm not, I've said enough criticism for him, but god dang it, run the dang ball.
Teammates aren't supposed to hate each other, but when your defense thinks your quarterback is overrated and protected by the coach, that's when championship teams begin to fall apart. The 2014 Seattle Seahawks Richard Sherman watched QB Russell Wilson get picked off and screamed, "You can suck," at him in front of the whole team. Now that's pure contempt. The Legion of Boom felt like Wilson was getting all the credit for their success while they did the heavy lifting. As he suspected, Sherman was a vocal leader of that faction, and he made sure Wilson knew it. Super Bowl 49 made it worse. That goal line interception, Sherman and his boys blamed Wilson entirely. The locker room was split down the middle, team defense versus team Wilson. Sherman eventually left for the 49ers and kept taking shots at Wilson in interviews. The dynasty was over, and everyone knew why. This next one is an absolute shocker. Number 3, Myles Garrett versus Mason Rudolph.
Here's a flag as... Whoa! Hello! Whoa!
We've all seen the replay of that 14th November Thursday night football. Myles Garrett rips off Mason Rudolph's helmet and uses it as a weapon, swinging it at Rudolph's head in front of 20 million viewers. It was the most shocking act of violence in NFL history. But the aftermath made it worse. Garrett claimed Rudolph used a racial slur to provoke him. Of course, Rudolph denied it, and the NFL found no evidence. The whole thing turned into a mess that nobody wanted to lay a finger on. Well, Garrett got indefinitely suspended, which was the harshest penalty for on-field violence ever. Rudolph, on the other hand, got labeled as a guy who somehow provoked it, even though he got his head bashed in. When they met again in 2020, you could cut the tension with a knife. Both guys said they wanted to move on, but nobody believed them. Beefs like this never die, do they? Number 2, Terrell Owens versus Donovan McNabb. Now this one's as old as your granddaddy, and it broke up a Super Bowl team. T.O. and McNabb took the Eagles to Super Bowl 39, and Owens played through injury like a relentless warrior. But after they lost to the Patriots, everything went haywire. Owens started questioning McNabb's leadership publicly, saying that if he had passed the ball to him a few more times, they'd have probably won. McNabb thought Owens was selfish and disruptive. The 2005 season became a soap opera, with both guys taking shots at each other through the media. The Eagles finally had enough and suspended Owens for 4 games, then cut him entirely. Years later, they were still going at him. Owens called McNabb two-faced. McNabb said Owens destroyed the team. Neither one ever backed down. However, this beef doesn't even come close to the most legendary trash talk in NFL history. Number 1, Richard Sherman versus Michael Crabtree.
Hey, when you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're gonna get.
How can we ever forget this iconic rant that broke the internet? Let's step back a little to how it started. January 19th, 2014, at the NFC Championship game. Before that, at a charity game in 2013 when Sherman offered Crabtree a handshake just before the match, but Crabtree snubbed his hand. Well, that was a big mistake. After the back and forth, Sherman still didn't get his handshake. Fast forward to the NFC Championship, and both players met again on the pitch. Crabtree was running his route, ball in the air, and Sherman tipped it away for the game-winning interception. And that sent the Seahawks to the Super Bowl. But Sherman wasn't done. He walked up to Crabtree for a handshake, and again, Crabtree snubbed his hand and pushed him away. That's when Sherman lost it and delivered the most iconic villain speech in sports history, calling Crabtree a sorry receiver and making himself the most hated NFL player in America overnight. But the best part, Crabtree couldn't even respond because his team just lost the NFC Championship. Let's admit it, this has to be the coldest revenge in NFL history. And there you have it. The NFL has given us drama that even Hollywood couldn't write. But here's a question for you. Who's going to be the next greatest NFL beef? Maybe some rookie is about to poke the wrong veteran. Drop your predictions in the comments because I guarantee someone's about to start something that'll land them on next year's list. Get you next time.